Okay, February 28, 2025. This is Michael J. Today, the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, went to the White House, and it was a cluster muck of immense proportions. J.D. Vance and the Agent Orange, Donald Trump, totally bullied Zelensky, tried to coerce him into signing this rare earths deal, which, for $500 million, or sorry, $500 billion, $500 billion, without any security guarantees. So anyways, you let me know what you think, and we'll go to the main screen, and here we have some talking heads.
I can only imagine what it was like once they all went into a conference room and had to look at each other across the table.
Yeah, and what did you think as you were watching this, Jeff?
I mean, it's pretty shocking, but what I think really stands out to me is that this administration grossly overestimates its ability to bring about a deal. Completely agree with the point that you can't trust deals made with Russian President Putin. But I take it a step.
Hold on. You can't trust deals with Putin. You can't trust deals with this Donald Trump. And I'll tell you why. Trade deal with Canada. Last time he was the President of the United States, he redid a trade deal. It's still in effect. Now he's putting tariffs against Canada. And then he says, last trade deals, whoever made them didn't know what they were doing. Bad deals for the country. He made the deal. What gives with this guy? Look at Iran. Nuclear deal Obama made. He didn't honor that deal. Guy doesn't honor any deals. How you can trust this guy? You can't.
Further than that and say, as long as Russian troops are advancing in the east, and they are, and he believes he's winning, you're not going to get a meaningful deal. In the sense, by meaningful, I mean like some kind of lasting peace. So I don't even think they're going to get to the point where he's violating the deal.
Because he has the upper hand. So why would he proceed in that regard,
That's
you mean?
Right. Yes, none of his strategic objectives about changing the government in Ukraine and really controlling the strategic direction of Ukraine.
Yeah, but here's the deal. The world and everybody is being played by Putin and Trump. They've got their own deals going. The only guy that might have an inkling about what's going on is this guy, Elon Muscolini, a.k.a. Elon Musk. Guy that's taken a cudgel indiscriminately to government services, firing FAA guys back in January 20 as soon as they take over, putting on hold air traffic controllers by the 22nd of January at the latest, and then you wonder why you got planes falling out of the skies. Planes and helicopters running into one another, and near misses and hits at O'Hare Airport, Chicago. This is the deal.
None of that has changed. And as long as he thinks he can do that by what he's doing right now, he's going to keep doing that. And the rest of the negotiations with him, that's just smoke and mirrors.
And my impression is that basically Trump...
It's all smoke and mirrors, kids. It's all smoke and mirrors. Now let's go to our next video. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. Here we go. Main screen. What do we got here? Now, pay attention. Two things are going to happen here. I'm not sure if the Zelensky is going to say Crimea invaded 2014, and then Trump's going to correct him, say 2015, and then J.D. Vance has got to correct Trump. They're playing this poor Zelensky. The poor guy is getting played by these guys. J.D. Vance, Beggar Vance is off in his own world. He doesn't even know what's going on. He's just friggin' created this belief system in his cranial structure. One time it's this, next time it's this. But bottom line is everybody's kissing Trump's derriere when he has a clean diaper on. Got to make sure it's a clean diaper. And here's a guy, Trump, First term, he didn't understand what's going on. Now, second term, he's got Project 2025, all these people that got a plan. But here's the thing. Trump micromanages everything. And to micromanage the United States of America is a Herculean task, even for the most intelligent person. And trust me, Agent Orange is not super intelligent. He's not a high IQ guy. He just might be even illiterate. That's the rumor.
Strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks.
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president $350 billion.
You will.
Whoa. Through the stupid president, he's friggin' slagging Joseph Biden. And then he says, we've given you $350 billion. Can you believe it? He's got the audacity to say, we've given you $350 billion on national television. Can you believe it? Is that possible? Yeah, it's dang right it's possible. But here's the deal. I'm going to show you something. It'll show you exactly how much has been given by the U.S. 120 billion. 120 billion
is aid. But in any event,
Hey,
here are the
Steve,
numbers.
take it
Once
away.
and for all, maybe Donald Trump will pay attention today.
What did he say? Maybe Donald Trump will pay attention today? He's going to make up crap all the time. How many lies a day can Donald Trump do? A lot of lies.
He claims $350 billion.
And you just seen on national television Zelensky sitting off to his right. Whoa, $350 billion. This is what he claims.
The actual number from the Kiel Institute Impartial Observer is $120 billion. He talks about how Europe only spent $100 billion. Actual number, $138 billion. These are the numbers once and for all as we sit
So
here
there
today.
you go. Europe's
now, let's
in
look
for
at how we're doing compared to other
$138
countries, and it's kind of interesting.
We're not going to go there, but at least you know exactly what the numbers are, no matter what. So $350 billion. I'm not even going to do the video with Zelensky anymore. Poor Zelensky. The guy he's being played. And the people of Ukraine, innocent people, are losing their lives and they're being played. And this MAGA crowd that are following this Trump without any compunction whatsoever about another human life is beyond my understanding. Ukrainian people are dying every day. Russian people are dying every day because of the greed of this guy Donald Trump and the greed of this guy Vladimir Putin. Simple as that. And you don't get it. So what I'm going to do to you now, we're going to play a video. My favorite buddy, my good buddy,
was not responsible for the
Whoops.
financing of the
Hold on.
project.
My good buddy. Now, what do you say, my good buddy? Who's my good buddy? Well, this is who it is. Watch this video here. 2017,
We're on assignment in
NBC.
Panama City tonight. This is a notorious money laundering center. It's also where the first tower to be built outside the United States and carry the name Trump on it was built. Our investigation, as you'll see, shows that criminals from all over the world use this building as a laundromat for their money. But the Trump Organization doesn't actually own the building. It made a licensing deal with a local developer. So the president basically
Not just that, the guy that I know that I'm sure he must have had a tough time getting Trump to wrap his head around it. Listen, Donald, you just have to do management contract deals with all these properties with your name on it. And that's all you need to do. We'll take care of all the rest. We're going to finance that. and we'll give you a little bit of a percentage off the monies that go through the units there. You can bring your daughter in and make it look like it's a legitimate deal that you're financing and everything else. We won't tell the rest of the world that, we're just laundering Russian money. IMF funds that are meant for the Russian people. American monies that were sent to disarm the nuclear armaments in Ukraine and then provide guarantees for the security of Ukraine. And you know what? The guy I know that you're going to see in this video, they were laundering approximately $80 billion in a month. 4 trillion rubles. Just in case you want to understand rubles to dollars. Just saying, folks. So, back to the show we go.
Just gets paid for the use of his name. Does that mean he can't be held responsible for any of the criminal activity that happened here? The Trump Organization says it does mean just that. But anti-corruption experts disagree. It's a question of good business practice, they say. And because we have a president who owns a global business, business practices matter. Here's our exclusive investigation in conjunction with our friends at Reuters into that building.
Yikes.
Buenos dias.
Laundromat.
Hello, I'm Ivanka Trump. Welcome.
It was the first Trump-branded tower to go up overseas.
Now look at all those buildings. All of them were developed in laundering money. Colombian, Mexican drug cartels, Russian mob money, everything.
Our exclusive beach club. No request is too large or too
Look at
small
all.
for our team.
All those new
Now,
buildings.
That sense of ownership is gone. The Trump Organization, which no longer runs the building, says it had no hand in vetting the people who financed,
There you go.
sold,
Look at all those
or bought
buildings.
it.
Now that President Trump is in the
Mr.
White House,
Ventura,
do you think
the
the
Brazilian.
Trump Organization and the Trump family are trying to distance themselves from you?
I wouldn't
Partner
say that
with
they're
David
trying, because I
Guzman.
don't think that I can harm them.
Cartel,
It
the
took
cartel
months to
guy.
track Alexander Ventura down and persuade him to sit down for an interview. He asked that we disguise his appearance. He's on the run from the law in Panama, where he's wanted for fraud. He says he sold hundreds of units in the Trump Ocean Club to people who also went to a lot of trouble to hide their identities.
For over
And the
$100
banks weren't
million,
asking any
too.
questions where the money was coming from?
No.
That's
Never.
just the one building.
Sounds like nobody was asking any questions.
Nobody was asking, no.
Not
No.
you, not the Trump Organization, not the banks, not the developers, nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody checked anybody out.
Oh, there we
People were
go.
spending millions for
Good old Monty Morris Friesner. Self-alleged nephew of Meyer Lansky was working for my father-in-law, because Friesner's good at financial extortion. So he's a financial hitman. Like if you got an airport in China or Vietnam or something, he's the guy you send in to make sure you got the smooth deal going. He'll do what he has to do. And then the developer comes in, builds the airport, everybody gets their cut. So Monty Morris Friesner, self-confessed nephew of Meyer Lansky. Have I verified? I haven't checked anybody's I can't verify it for sure, but this is what he told me. And he moved into my house in August 1998, after he got out of jail in Oklahoma. Take it away, Monty.
Richard, they were buying 5, 10, 20 units at a time. The money would go to Ventura.
If you want to know about the flow of dirty money through Panama, Monty Friesner is the man to ask. In 1992, he was convicted in federal court of 20 counts of money laundering and fraud. He still knows all the players and all the plays.
Do you think it's possible Trump didn't know the
And here's the other thing. Friesner makes it like he's a good guy, but now he's just doing immigration. All sorts of things. This guy never stopped laundering money. Trust me on that.
And if people who were buying in his building?
You didn't know.
How could he not have known?
Because you don't walk up to somebody and say, hey, are you Russian mafia?
Do you think it's fair to say that Trump didn't ask because he didn't want to know?
Would you want to know?
I would
Didn't
want to know
have
who's
to,
buying
because
a building
Friesner
that
was
has my name
organizing
on
it all
Because
for
it's
him.
you, most known. They don't care.
A team from
Yikes.
Global Witness, an anti-corruption watchdog that is often critical of businesses and their connections to government officials, spent months investigating Trump-branded properties around the world, and especially the one in Panama. Patrick Alley is the group's co-founder.
It was a money laundering hotspot. Any responsible businessman should want to know who their clients are and where the money is coming from. If that responsible businessman is now the President of the United States, this is a matter of public interest.
The idea for the Trump Ocean Club was born long before the businessman became president. It was in the 2000s. On his hit TV show, The Apprentice, CEO Trump made all the decisions.
You're fired, fired, fired. You're all fired.
But his children were joining the family business, and Ivanka Trump suggested that they take the Trump brand global. Panama seemed like a good place to start.
Well, my interest in Panama really began when we had the Miss Universe contest in Panama, which I own. I own the Miss Universe, and it was one of the most successful contests we've ever had. So I was in Panama. I was there for quite a bit of time with the Miss Universe, and I fell in love with the place.
But the Panama he was falling in love with was not the Panama where more than a third of the population lived in poverty.
All that was developed with laundered money.
Where brand
Drug
new
money,
luxury
Russian
towers
money.
were being snapped up by the international hot money crowd.
Plane loads of people were coming. 'Cause they would
Peddling girls
advertise
for
in
sex
Miami,
trade,
Toronto,
illegal.
Russia, and they were pre-selling all the buildings. And the more they
Amazing.
built, the
Doing
more
everything
they
here.
sold.
All that was money
Nobody ever
laundered.
occupied the apartments.
They were empty buildings.
They were empty buildings.
The buildings, Friesner says, were a great place to bury dirty money. He says the buildings were almost literally made of drug money.
Cocaine concrete.
What is cocaine concrete?
It's the money that came from cocaine. A lot of it was drug money.
So you take the cocaine and you turn it into a building.
Yeah.
How do you know all of this?
I was directly involved. I saw it happening.
It was this booming
Look at all
market
that.
that the Trump
Look at all those
organization
buildings.
was entering. Plans, as seen in this marketing illustration, were drawn up for an ambitious tower, the tallest in Latin America at the time, with a mix of hotel rooms and high-end condos. All on a plot of land owned by a small-time local businessman,
Kafif.
Roger Kafif, who was going to be the building's main developer. Ivanka traveled to Panama to meet the team.
Roger introduced me, and my company would be selling the units.
According to Ventura, Ivanka was planning to pre-sell units for around $120,000 each. Ventura said he could sell them for a lot more.
What did she say when you told
And
her
so
that?
she was happy with that. She said, but can you sell it at that price? I said, yes. So the agreement was I had a
Everything was
week to
pre-sold.
sell 100 units.
How did you sell 100 units in a week?
It was easy to sell, in fact, with his name.
The name of the most famous man in real estate, who was also the building's salesman-in-chief.
One of the great things about Panama, not only the beautiful building, but the incredible views.
The name Trump was magic. And he came down, Donald Trump came down. He has a great presence. I mean, he's a fabulous marketing person.
But according to Ventura, it was Ivanka Trump who handled all the details.
What kinds of things did?
So here's the other thing that you don't realize. The guy that set this all up for Trump for many friggin' decades pretty near, and set him up with the Russians, has died, I think 2016, based on what I found out recently. So what Trump's going to try to do, get Gaza, he's going to work with the Russians and try to develop that. This is what he's going to try to do it himself.
Ivanka do?
Meeting with the architects, deciding the finishings of the project, the prices.
But here's the other
when it's
thing.
Going to be released, when it's not going to be
It
released.
took a long time because Trump's
everything
basically
related to the
illiterate.
project. Because
And they had to
According to the
convince him,
contract, Trump
don't worry about the
organization has to
finance, we'll
approve
do
everything
everything,
because it's his
construction,
name on the
everything. Just
project
put your
anyway.
name
So
to
it
it.
sounds like the Trump
You do a
organization,
management
specifically Ivanka, was
contract for the
deeply
hotel,
Yes, I mean,
and the
sure,
condominiums will give you a
person
cut of
responsible for
each
the project.
turnover of each unit.
Ventura,
And this is how
who
they
had a
did it.
small real estate agency, was
But the
now
thing is-
selling the Trump brand. He had made
Trump just makes these deals so one-sided in his favor that even when they did it in Toronto, Canada, the Trump Tower there, it was one of the oligarchs of Putin's. The guy had to friggin' sue to get out of that deal because it's just all one-sided. Just saying,
big
folks.
leagues.
He became overnight a mover of money.
Who was it that Ventura and the firm Holmes were targeting
Russians. Russians that had dirty money,
specifically?
And then the Russian mafia came in.
Al
A guy
Schul.
called Alexander Sasha Altschul.
And what was he doing down in Panama?
He came down, made a proposal to Ventura, and made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Altschul became a partner in Ventura's marketing firm, but we can't verify his connection to the Russian mafia because, although the allegation has been repeated in several court cases, Altschul seems to fend off the charges every time. Another partner, Stanislav Kavalenka, also bought several units in the building. He has since been accused of running a prostitution ring in Canada, but the case was dropped when both key witnesses disappeared. The firm's representative in Kiev, Igor Anapolsky, was later found by a Ukrainian court guilty of people smuggling. One of the customers who bought units in the building was an ex-convict who served time in Israel for kidnapping. And those are just the ones we managed to identify. While claiming he didn't know it at the time, Ventura now admits that he was selling units in the building to members of the Russian mafia.
I had some customers with some, questionable background.
What does that mean?
I mean, I found out later, not in the beginning, from belongs to mafia, the Russian mafia, or things like that. But anyway, I was not getting paid in cash.
That is not the story we heard from Friesner.
They used half a dozen lawyers would come pick up $1 million in a satchel.
That was happening at the Trump Ocean Club?
Yeah.
So Ventura was marketing the Trump Ocean Club as part of a real estate portfolio where corrupt people could park their money.
You got it.
And they did.
Yeah. But they didn't just park their money was turned over consistently.
So how does a luxury tower become a money laundromat? Here's how it works. The buyer uses dirty money to buy, say, Unit 1605 in the unbuilt tower. Then, sometimes just 2 weeks later, Unit 1605 gets resold. The money coming out of the building is now clean, the proceeds of a legitimate real estate deal. The only way to trace its dirty origins would be to go back to the beginning and identify the original buyer. And that should be relatively easy, but not in Panama.
Our investigation led us here to Panama's public registry. After going through a lot of paperwork, a pattern started to emerge. It turns out many of the condo units aren't owned by individuals, but Panamanian corporations, often with generic names like Ocean Trump 1605.
Yeah, they use
Investment
corporation shell companies and
So why
transfer
would
the money
someone
through
use a
bearer
corporation
shares.
to buy a condo?
Corporation goes
Often
with
to
the
hide
bearer
the
share.
identity
And the
of the
money
real
goes
buyer.
with the
One of the things
corporation.
with these shell companies is you can simply transfer the company, the bearer share to anybody you want.
So you set up a shell company. Nobody knows who the actual owner is.
No.
Then you buy the unit. You get a piece of paper that says you own the unit.
You're the owner.
And then you can do with what you want with that piece of
You're
paper.
holding money. You're holding $1 million. It's not even a check. In a bearer share. You can transfer it to anybody.
You could fold it and put it in your pocket.
Correct.
And you were
So
coming
that's
in
what
with
created the
hundreds of buyers.
Panama
Did the
Papers in
Trump
Panama.
organization want to know who these buyers
And the Paradise
were, where the money
Papers
was
in
coming
the
from?
United Kingdom, where David
Not that I'm
Cameron,
aware of,
the
no,
Prime Minister,
not at
had
all.
to resign
Did they
because
ever ask you?
No.
he was
Were
getting
these
proceeds
buyers
from
planning on
laundered money
living
also.
in these units, in these apartments?
Most of them, no.
And that never raised alarm bells with you? There's somebody buying 15 units, doesn't want to live in the place, from Russia.
No, because that was normal. If they had laundry money, that's their problem.
And it wasn't just Russians.
And then David
One of the most famous
Guzman.
money launderers in the world, David Murcia Guzman, bought units in the building too. We met a former Panamanian prosecutor, Mauricio Ceballos, who worked on the Guzman case.
A mí me toca la investigación de David Murcia.
And then the other thing you don't hear, Åke Ornstein, who's a Dutch or Danish reporter, was following Friesner around, reporting on him. Friesner got Ornstein in jail, and finally Ornstein got out. And even Ornstein's lawyer got murdered down in Panama. Like, all sorts of shady stuff was going on.
Guzman investigation was a vast case, and as part of it, we had information that Alexander Ventura was Guzman's partner.
And here's the thing, that Russian money, as I don't know if I mentioned, IMF funds meant for the Russian people, laundered through, and the proceeds went to Yeltsin, Putin. The denuclearization funds given for Ukraine to get rid of their nuclear armaments, that was laundered out also through these types of setups. And then Ukraine was supposed to be guarantees, security guarantees to give up their nuclear arsenal. What happened to that? This guy Trump doesn't honor any deal whatsoever. America has a hard time honoring lots of their deals. And this is the real issue. It was like $80 billion a friggin' month just in the Russian end of things going through these buildings. And that's just for Putin and that.
We heard the same thing from Friesner.
Guzman and
Yeltsin
Ventura,
Putin, because it started with Boris
between
Yeltsin, then they put Putin in place.
Became, after a couple of years,
Yeltsin
How did they
drank
work
a little
together?
too much
How
vodka.
did their
He would
collaboration
bring
work?
the money, David would bring the money in, and the money would get distributed.
What about Guzman?
Ventura, they basically slept in the same bed.
Guzman is in U.S. custody, convicted of laundering millions of dollars for Mexican drug dealers.
Were you?
No.
Guzman's
no,
man
I
in Panama?
had 45 days with him, and we never...
45 days, you can make 100 million plus. But anyways, Guzman ended up being thrown in jail, I think, in Miami. Preet Bharara was the attorney general at that time under Obama that put Guzman in jail.
Talk about anything illegal, you know.
But he did admit that he and Guzman did some business together.
So you moved some of Mauricio Guzman's money into the Trump Ocean Club?
Yes, I did, yes.
How many units?
And it was not many.
Not
I
many.
think maybe maximum 10 units.
Did you investigate Ventura? Sí, Alexander Ventura Nogueira, sí.
Yes, Alexander Ventura was under investigation for fraud.
And what did you find out?
Bueno. Well, at the time I was working 4 or 5 fraud cases he was involved in.
Fraud because Ventura seems to have gotten too greedy. After a while, collecting a 3% commission wasn't enough. He started selling units on paper in
You'll
several buildings to
see his
more than
picture
one
with
buyer at a time.
Donald
Eventually,
Trump at
his
Mar-a-Lago
pyramid scheme
also.
collapsed. He was arrested and charged with fraud. Somehow, he managed to get bail and escape the country. In a statement to NBC News, a spokesman wrote that the Trump Organization was not the owner, developer, or seller of the Trump Ocean Club Panama project, and that the Trump Organization was not responsible for the financing of the project and had no involvement in the sale of units or the retention of any real estate brokers. The spokesman said the Trump Organization had no relationship with Ventura or knowledge of the allegations against him. We also asked Ivanka Trump for comment, but her team referred us back to this statement.
I believe this is the picture of you with President Trump.
Yes, that's correct. That's in Mar-a-Lago, yes.
So you're meeting with him, you stop, you pose for the photograph.
Yes.
Ventura didn't mind showing us old pictures as long as we didn't show what he looked like now.
And your interaction with him is good job, keep up the good work, keep selling.
Keep selling, that's it.
How many units did you personally sell?
I believe that I sold between 350 to 400 units, you know, from the project.
So that would be worth how much?
A little bit over 100 million.
Over $100 million?
Yes.
When the Trump Organization goes into a licensing deal, when it sells its name and its brand, on one side, the Trump organization is deeply involved. The family are involved. So they can be very hands-on, very, very interested when they want to be. When it comes to problems, like there might be some dodgy money involved, there might be some dodgy clients, they don't want to know. That's the developer's responsibility. That's not our responsibility.
Look, you spent your life around criminals or investigating criminals.
I was a criminal.
Being a criminal.
Yeah.
What do you think about the kind of business that Trump was lending his name to?
I'm not trying to protect him, but he is not the one that's doing all of this. He simply has a name, corporation. That's
guy was doing $80 billion a month through his my father-in-law, under my father-in-law's tutelage. 80 billion Canadian
like Trump,
a month, 4 trillion
I'd do a
rubles.
background check. I'd want to know who they buy their underwear from. So
And this guy lies more than friggin' Trump does. I know this is going to be hard
As
to
a
believe.
former money launderer,
But that's the reality.
Trump Ocean Club, how would you rate it?
Yikes.
In its
For money
quality?
laundering?
That's where
For
Ken
money
Rejock
I'd
works
take
with this
AAA.
guy.
Now, there is no suggestion that the president or his family were directly involved in any of the illegal activity that went on here. As we said, they were just licensing out the Trump brand and initially managing the building. It's just that this building was a magnet for dirty money, and we found no sign of an attempt by the Trump organization to protect that brand, which is perhaps now our nation's most
All
prominent
that
brand,
was
from being
built and developed
tarnished
with
by
dirty money.
association. The building was opened in 2011. And on stage were three men, our future president,
Martinelli.
the developer Kafif, and Panama's president, who was then a close friend.
Thank you very much for being here today, and you're my friend.
Martinelli is now awaiting an extradition decision in a jail cell in a federal detention center in Miami. We'll tell you that whole story next.
So there you go. You really think Mr. Zelensky is going to get a fair deal? Putin and Trump are going to screw everybody over. That's what they want to do. That's what they're going to do. Well, hopefully Europe can slide in there and stop this from happening. It'll be a shame, because too many Ukrainian people have died as a result of this. Even a lot of Russian people, too. You got to understand, they've been manipulated by Putin. The whole country's been manipulated by Putin. A lot of nice people, they don't know what's going on. They really don't. It's rather unfortunate. So, Putin, Trump are working together. And that's what's going on, folks. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Send love and peace to the Ukrainian people, Zelensky, and love and peace to everybody. Stay safe. Questions, comments, throw in chat. Remember, if things get out of control, anxiety sets in, you're spiraling, do what my two buddies do. Sleep on it. Ciao.